with attorney Jeremy Rosenthal. As always, Jeremy, it's good to see you. Let's get straight into it. The purchase of the Colt revolver by Hunter Biden and Hallie Biden's frenzied disposal of it, as you just saw in that piece, they are the fulcrum of the case against Hunter. She's the only person expected to testify who saw that Biden, who saw Biden in October 2018. So she would be the only person who saw him in the time frame at question. Does that pretty much make her the most important witness in this case, Jeremy?
It's kind of like saying in the fourth quarter, the person who comes in and scores 20 points to make you lose by 50 is the most important person. Because we both know the Dallas Mavericks are going to come back and win Game 7, but Game 1. Nobody's watching that because they're watching this. She is a star witness, and she is kind of putting the cherry on the top of this case, if you will, for the prosecution. A lot of evidence that Hunter Biden used well before, a lot of evidence that he used well after, a lot of evidence that he has admitted being a drug user. His defense is, well, in that brief time period, I wasn't using, and she didn't actually see him use, but he sends some pretty damning text messages that the day after he filled out the questionnaire asking him if he was a user, he says that he was meeting a dealer named Mookie. That's not good. And then the day after that, October 14th, he sends her another text message saying that he's lying on a car doing crack. So that is really, really hard stuff to overcome. But I think it's the cherry on top. So
Hallie had said that she believes that Biden was using crack cocaine around October 22nd and 23rd, which is days after he purchased the pistol. However, under cross-examination, she acknowledged that she did not personally see him using drugs in the month. The defense hopped on that pretty quickly, didn't they, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing what they can. Sometimes when you're defending a case like this, a case that Hunter Biden was all but ready to admit and accept guilt for in a previous plea deal, which didn't go through, it's like a horror movie. You are running and getting chased by the monster, and you knock over every fruit stand you can knock over. You throw every shopping cart in the way of the monster. But the way this scene is going to end is that the monster is going to eat Hunter Biden at the end of a long, dark alley at the end of this chase. There's a little bit of daylight there. She didn't actually see him doing the drugs. The Abby Lowell tried to establish that, look, well, there's some hyperbole in your relationship, right? You guys are not the most honest people. You guys are both using drugs here. And it's common for you guys to kind of lie to each other. Maybe Hunter was with another woman, and instead of him actually being with a crack cocaine dealer or doing crack on a car, maybe he was actually with a woman. Anytime you're resorting to that kind of a Hail Mary, things aren't really good for you. Again, you're throwing the shopping cart in front of the monster. Good luck to you.
I love your comparisons tonight. They're on point today, Jeremy. Okay, let's talk about Jill Biden. So she has now left France, where she was attending D-Day anniversary events with President Biden. She's now headed back to the States. She's headed back to Delaware and is expected to attend the Hunter Biden trial tomorrow. She is then expected to return again to France for a state dinner on Saturday. That's a heavy lift for one courtroom visit, Jeremy. Is there calculus here? Does a show of familial support mean anything to a jury?
It can. It absolutely can. A lot of times as lawyers, we focus so much on the evidence in the case, and we get so buried in footnote 47 of some kind of a case law, or we get so buried in, was the car red, was the car blue? And then when the jury comes back after a week-long trial or a 2-week-long trial, the first question they ask is, who was that lady in the front row? Was that the girlfriend? Was that the wife? Was that the mother? So jurors pay a lot of attention to those kinds of things, whether it's calculated or not. I mean, only the Bidens know that. But juries definitely do pay attention to that kind of a thing. Is it enough to engender enough sympathy here? We'll see. I think the prosecutor's done the best job that they can do to try to make the weapon dangerous, try to make the crime dangerous, right? got to explain to the jury, why is it that we have this crime? We have this crime because we don't want people who are out of their mind possessing weapons. Weapons are for under the Second Amendment, they're for responsible gun owners, and they're for people who are defending themselves. They're not for you to go out and take and do a drug deal with. That's why these laws exist. And the prosecution went out, and I think they tried to insinuate as best as they could that was what was going on. So that combats some of that sympathy that you might get with some of the family members. But there's a very human aspect here, to be sure. You see a family of an addict, and there's a lot of emotion that's going on there.
Hallie was not the only person we heard from today. We also heard testimony from Delaware State Police. We heard from one state police lieutenant. We also heard from a man named Thomas Banner. Both of them testified about the series of events that led to the recovery of Biden's gun after Hallie Biden reported it missing. Jeremy, did we learn anything interesting from either of them? They wrapped up the day today.
I don't think we really learned that much interesting. There was cocaine found on the gun, and that is, to me, a really, really minute point. In fact, that's such a point that if I'm Abby Lowell, if I'm the defense attorney here, I'm trying to keep the whole thing out, right? The fact that cocaine was found on the gun, they're trying to trace that back to Hunter to show that he was actively using at the time. They called a gentleman who 80 years old and was collecting bottle caps, and he found the weapon in the trash can. They asked the guy, "Are you a cocaine user?" And he said no. So what they're really trying to do is, it's more about the cocaine than anything else. But it's pretty unnerving that a weapon was found in a trash can. Hallie Biden says that she panicked, threw it in there. They had video surveillance, obviously, of her doing that. But this is all a debate about that. I believe they had a chemist who came in, talked about the cocaine residue. Hunter Biden might call an expert. That expert is very likely, I think, going to rebut the cocaine evidence on the weapon, maybe talk about how that could occur naturally, right? I don't know if you've seen Snopes.com. I think they said 60% of all dollar bills have cocaine traces in them. Don't want to scare anybody out there, right? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Who knows what the chemist is going to say? But I think we're really just running down a rabbit trail with this weapon. The offense was committed, if any, when Hunter Biden checked the box on that document. That's really the focus point of this case. The weapon, I think, is kind of out there, so that's why you may not be seeing so much attention paid to it.
All right, we've made it through 4 days. What are you going to be looking ahead to next?
Prosecution saying that they're going to rest their case mid-morning tomorrow. We'll see what kind of witnesses the Bidens call, Hunter Biden calls. They've said they may call a chemist. They may call an addiction expert, kind of a softer science. I don't know that they'll have any traditional fact witnesses or eyewitnesses. Maybe they'll talk to somebody. They've insinuated through cross-examination that Hunter Biden was addicted to alcohol, not crack cocaine, not these other drugs, and that was his drug of choice in this time period. Maybe they call somebody to kind of establish that. But this thing will mercifully, for Hunter Biden and his family, come to an end. It sounds like in the following days.
You and I have been talking all week about the prosecution running up the score in this case, and unfortunately for you, Jeremy, it appears the Celtics are doing that very thing against your Dallas Mavericks right now.
I think I speak for all of America when I say we're tired of Boston teams winning everything. The Patriots, the Red Sox, I think we're all done, right? Mavericks are going to help America. Six games.
Save some for the rest of us, Boston. Come on. All right. Thank you, Jeremy. We'll touch base soon. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's slide away for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.